Hello, butterflies, and welcome to Butterfly Tea Time. Today, we're going to be doing some storytelling, and my special guest, as many of you know, is Emmitt Henderson, CEO of Male Lupus Warriors, now a nonprofit. Hello, Emmitt.
Hey, Felicia, how are you? And thank you for having me on here on Lupus Glitter. And thanks for everybody that is tuning in, going to tune in, or going to watch this later. Either way, you're going to hear some stuff today from Miss Felicia and myself.
So I met Emmitt about a year ago. I was noticing a lot of the works that he's doing in the lupus community, and I felt like I just had to know him. He had posted that he would be in the Las Vegas area, and I was his #1 fan showing up to meet him and to just kind of pick his brain for all the different works he's doing in the lupus community and kind of help me to have some direction with the skincare that I created and some of the things I was wanting to do with makeup videos. So very happy to have him here. He just recently became an official nonprofit. So we're cheersing to that today with some coffee. And we're
And some
sharing
drink.
our journey with lupus today.
Yes, we are. Cheers. Cheers to everybody that's out there as well. And if you
Cheers.
guys know me, I was diagnosed with lupus many moons ago, like 26 years ago, actually. But the symptoms go back further than that. And I think one of the biggest things that got me to advocate was because my passion, well, what I thought was my passion, was working and providing for my kids and my family. And when you're on that mode, as a young man, it's like nothing stops you, nothing deters you from doing that. For me, getting sick was something unexpected, something, of course, didn't count on, but it did. I did, and when I did, thank you. When I did, I knew that with everything that I had been through, I had to do something different. Because I'm gonna be real, and for the guys that are listening to this, you guys will know. And if you guys have an illness or even just having anything that's in life that's slowing you down from something, when we do try to look for resources, we kind of have a second thought about doing that. It's like, do we really need to reach out for help, or is there help within us that we need to find it? And the answer is actually both ways. However, guys, we don't tend to sometimes open up and get out like that. So I don't know, Felicia, if you've seen that in the people you deal with, but there's something about us guys and the stigmas where we don't tend to open up right away. As long as I've been sick, I did not open up in the beginning. Everything that I've done, or I'm doing now, should I say, is from the experience of not wanting any other person to go through that again. No, I didn't seek right away in 1995. I didn't seek what is lupus. I didn't seek support groups because the first I had to grasp myself, like, what is this disease? How was the doctor going to tell me this is a specific woman's disease when at that time I'm doing everything for myself to become the man that I am, become the rock of my family, become the provider, the supporter, everything I'm trying to do. And you're going to tell me I have a woman's disease?
Yeah.
Now, with the disease, of course, with what we all know about it, that there is no cure for it. But I never accepted that. I accepted the fact that I'm doing well. I'm going to continue to keep doing well despite what this disease does. So it started with joint pains, which most of us can probably relate to, joint pains that is so hard and debilitating where I wouldn't have been able to pick up a glass at the time. I wasn't able to open up a jar that was tight because of how everything was. And when things like that was happening, we still don't go to the doctor because we think something that, hey, take a nap, get over it, we'll be fine. So I knew something was wrong because it kept happening over and over and over again. And part of the story that really decided for me to go in was when I couldn't take the joint pain anymore. And I had to break down and say, it's time for me to go get checked out.
Yeah.
And just doing that alone is something to where we don't go to the hospital for simple things. Why is that though? And most of the guys, again, can tell you, even women, you guys can all say it. We go in just to be told, well, we don't see anything wrong. Go home and sleep it off, rest it off, take some pills, you'll be okay. For us as men, now that makes us embarrassed. That makes us look like we're, hurt all the time. We don't want to show vulnerability. We don't. So, and I know for a fact that that was me. I know for a fact that was me. So, being told that I have this woman's disease and lupus, I had to accept the fact that being diagnosed, going home with over 30 meds a day, how it was going to affect me, I still tried to maintain work because that's all that I knew. Maintain work, making good money, owning property, owning my cars, owning things is how I was raised. Never asked for a disease, never knew this was coming. So, it's kind of, I had to deal with it, which was hard. I had to accept it, which was even harder. I didn't want to accept I had this disease because I didn't want nothing to slow me down. So lupus done a number on me, to keep going through the years of everything I had done. The biggest things that it had, lupus had affected almost all of my organs and almost all of my systems. And what I mean by that is the specifics in regards to restricted lung disease, where I was on oxygen for almost a month, and I'm this young guy walking around, and even I kept
Oh,
going no matter what I did. I got diagnosed in 1995 at 25. So that tells you guys how old I am and everything that I've been through. But I do not, and at least I don't feel I look like what I've been through. I don't feel that it has debilitated me so much that I cannot do what I'm doing today. And with everything that I have done and been going through, some of the stuff that I've been through where I should not even have been here today. I shouldn't. So, and I'll tell you about that because with the restricted lung disease that I have carrying the oxygen, when that episode was done with the hospital, I'm thinking everything is good. Now I'm having liver disease. So now I'm on very much restriction on foods and everything with liver disease. Then I ended up having spleen affected. They thought they were going to have to take it out, but with everything I was going through with lupus, they didn't want to risk surgery or do anything like that. So they kind of let that go. My lupus was so aggressive that they ended up putting me on chemotherapy.
oh wow.
My body assumed that consumed that chemotherapy like it wasn't working. So then we had to switch over to radiation therapy. So if any of you guys know about that, you know how bad that could be. You know
Wow.
how bad that is and what it does to you and your body.
Wow. So how long was your whole journey with being diagnosed? Was it a couple years, 6 months?
No,
Years?
what happened was when in 1980, as a kid, I had symptoms of the rash and fever. So yes, I had the rash on my face. For me, it was discoloration of my skin. It wasn't the external, rash that was irritating and red. It was just that my skin color had changed, particularly in my face and then my neck and in my upper body. And then fevers were like all the time for no reasons, and they couldn't tell what that was. 95 is when I ended up getting diagnosed. When I went into the hospital in 95, literally 3.5 weeks is when I got the word that you may have a disease that is very rare in men, rare for my age, ethnicity, and my gender, is what they were telling me. So, with those words, that's when they told me that I have a woman's disease, systemic lupus. So,
Wow. Had you ever heard of lupus before?
no, of course not. Nuh-uh, of course not. Back then, what I was told back then that it was very common in older white women. So, and I'm gonna tell you, Felicia, the first time that 2.5 years later, when I finally decided to discover what is lupus, because I again I was stubborn. I didn't try to look into it. I tried not to accept it. I tried everything. So, what is lupus? So, I finally saw a support group that I decided to try and check out. It was in my area here in San Diego, California, where I'm from. And I walk into this room, and there's nothing but older white women in the room. And this was in 97. And when I see that, I had to stop because there's not one person that looked like me, not one person with my skin color, and not one man in that room. So I turned around. I turned around. I thought I was in the wrong room until I saw lupus written up on the billboard, but I turned around because I felt like I didn't stand in. I was told it was rare in men. 10% of lupus patients have lupus are men. Hopefully that statistic has risen by now, but I think men need to speak up in order for those stats to change. But back then, you can imagine me looking at this place with the mentality that I had. How can I get help here? Are they going to think that I even belong here? Do I belong here? I did because we had lupus in common, but it would have been hard for me to try to hear from somebody not understanding what I'm going through or looking like me. So it was tough. I didn't know anything about it. Sorry in the background. That's my mom speaking, and it's her birthday today. And
Happy
everybody,
birthday.
thank you. Everybody is showing her so much love, and I appreciate everybody that's done that for her today. So, but that was hard trying to accept the illness that you didn't know nothing about. That was specifically a women's disease when you're a man. And then my goals at the time were so big that I looked at this disease as another obstacle that's in my life,
Yeah.
thinking that I'm going to conquer it, but it wasn't easy. So for everybody that knows me and sees what I'm doing and compliments that, you know, that I'm strong and I'm doing this, I really appreciate those words, but it was not an easy journey. I would never say I got over it, you can get over it. Never. Anybody that tells you that, you do not follow them. You do not. You need somebody to kind of emphasize with you that this is not an easy disease, to show empathy in regards to what you're going through, because any disease, not just lupus, but any autoimmune, you need to find that time and space for yourself to work with yourself to get better, to feel better. But if there's, you know, somebody constantly telling you, oh, it's a piece of cake, it's a piece, it is not. It is not. But the encouragement there, though, is that you can get through it, but you can get through it on your term, your pace, and your time. And that's how you're going to do it. Hearing people that went through it, like myself, and all these amazing warriors that's out there, gives you the encouragement and the inspiration to let you know that it can be beaten, it can be done, but it's not an easy journey. Again, 1995 to 2019, now Emmitt decides to come out and advocate for it. And the reason why on that is because now lupus did something to me I thought what it would never do. It took me out of my career. It took me out of my work.
So is that when you started deciding that you were going to reach out to get more support and speak in the community, or were those two different times?
No, it's actually kind of both. First of all, I didn't even know a community really existed. I didn't. Prior to advocating, it was just Emmitt Henderson and the things associated with me. I'm a big Raider fan, so I associated with the Raider Nation, and then with me is just knowing a lot of people from the neighborhood. That's just how my social media was. When I decided to advocate and talk about lupus and change my or add my existing organization as its own separate from Emmitt Henderson, all of a sudden now I'm exposed now to communities. And the communities that accepted me has been overwhelming, overwhelming. So I'll tell you that how that started too, Felicia. When it took me out of work with everything. Oh, and let me back up even more before that. So with this journey, I've already mentioned with the chemotherapy, the radiation therapy, all the medications that I have taken for it. Lupus is also caused the vascular necrosis. For some of you that know what that is where your blood supply does not circulate through your joints the way it should. So therefore, because of that, we get brittle bones. We easily have sprains and breaks and tears and all that stuff. What is done to me with almost my two shoulders, my knees, my hips, my elbows, my wrists, my ankles, it pretty much affected all of it to where to this day I had a replacement in my right knee and a left shoulder replacement, all titanium metal. I set off metal detectors in airports all the time, and the screens that they have now shows, wow, what do you have down there? It's like, I got a knee replacement. What do you have up there? It's like, I have a shoulder. They're cool about it because they know it. My hips are just as bad, but at what I'm doing now, I kind of know how to avoid making all that stuff worse. So that's
And
what
one
that
way
had
that
done to me.
you're avoiding it lately is by not doing the butterfly dance.
Ah, and you know what? You're gonna get that coming because yes, I got to get that down. So I will, but I will. But that's another thing, and it's kind of like we all have to learn our bodies and learn what we're going through. There's a lot of things that we may used to do 20 years ago, 5, 10 years ago that we can't do today. And it's
Yeah.
not because you lose determination. It's not that. It's because your body sometimes won't let you. And like everybody says, we have to listen to our body. So with the knee replacement, with the shoulder replacement, going through all that, I ended up also having my nervous system was affected by lupus as well. There were so many things that was going on with me to where I was flaring so bad. In one year, and over a span of 14 months, I ended up having flares once a month, every single month for 14 months, an average week and a half stay in the hospital. It was crazy. I
Oh.
was in the hospital all the time. The nurses got to know me. I had a bag at my door with extra clothes and books and DVDs and players because I knew I was going in, and that's how it was. And then the last episode of a flare was when lupus got to my heart. So when lupus got to my heart, it caused heart failure with me. I ended with cardiomyopathy. That's when your heart is not strong enough to pump blood through the rest of your body. So fatigue, um, all kinds of things were kicking in at that time. I remember going to bed one night having chest pains. Next thing you know, I wake up and I'm in an ambulance with lights above me, and I'm like, "What happened? I don't know what happened." And they over here have all kind of things connected to my body. I'm seeing all kind of tubes going in my body. I get into the hospital, and they have to put me in a paralysis where I was ready to have a heart attack at any minute now. That could have ended my life. So they put me once they put me in that paralysis, they knew that I'm stable at least. Now it's up to the doctors to try to get my heart going. When my heart almost stopped, they told my parents that I may not make it through the night. And miraculously, they ended up putting me on a drug that wasn't approved at the time, which it is now, IVIG, that has to do with immunoglobulins, and that's what actually turned me around in the hospital. So I get past that point, and then from the paralysis that I was in, when I woke up, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move my body at all. So now my brain and my heart is working a little bit better now. Now they had to physically get me better. So I ended up going to rehab. So I went into a rehab center for 30 days, and I had to learn how to use my arms, walk, talk, everything. I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't do everything, anything. So that was huge. Now I got out the hospital another month or so after that. That whole stay was like 4 months in the hospital.
Wow.
After that, after that, now I'm told by my rheumatologist that your heart cannot sustain another flare. And I knew because of the pattern, the flares were so bad, I needed to do something. And so my doctor, which bless her heart, has signed me up for a clinical trial. And that was a bone marrow stem cell transplant.
Wow.
So if you guys are not familiar with that, you'll have to Google it because it is a process. But the bone marrow stem cell transplant saved my life. It quiet my lupus symptoms. So for most of you guys that don't know, if you don't, lupus, they're saying, according to statistics, is more severe in men than it is in women. Even though there's a smaller percentage of us, more men have more organ involvement
Yeah.
from the studies that they have done. And for me, I think I can contest to that, where almost all of my organs have been affected. Like I said, from my heart to my skin to my liver, my lungs, everything. And then, of course, let's back up to my kidneys. So when I got diagnosed in 95, not only I got diagnosed with systemic lupus, but the pains I was having was because I was already in stage 3 kidney failure. And
My God.
didn't know that at the time either. So even after the transplant, lupus kind of already done his job with my kidneys. So I ended up going into dialysis after that. So peritoneal dialysis, if you guys are familiar with that, that's dialysis that I plug into a machine after they inserted a tube right there in the middle of my chest and well below my chest and my sternum and connect me to this machine. And I had to dialyze every single night for 13 months. And that's 9 hours connected to a machine while that machine literally flushes out my kidneys and keep me alive. Um, thank you guys for the comments. I'm seeing some of the stuff. So it's with everything after that part. Once I did the transplant, it kept me alive, and I ended up going through the dialysis after that. Ultimately, it led to a kidney transplant. So my brother, thank God, I bless his heart every single day. He gave me my second birthday by blessing me with a kidney. And so now,
Wow.
because me and him were a perfect match, the doctors are dubbing it as a 20-year kidney. So now it's up to me to make sure I make that promise to my brother. I will definitely get 20 years out of life with this. So that ended up happening. So then I'm like, okay, what else can lupus do to me now that I got my kidney
That was
transplant
your
back?
biological brother that did that for you?
Absolutely. Yes. I
Wow.
have two brothers and one sister, and we were a match on all the markers. We had matched all the markers, and they gave it to me, and they presented me that they were giving me this kidney on Father's Day as a Father's Day gift on a Father's Day. It was so dope. It was like one of the best gifts that I've ever received. And just real quick, we have a family gathering between my two brothers and my dad. Father's Day, we get together, we exchange gifts. So I see people giving over gift cards, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what my gift is. And I get a little paper bag, and inside the bag is a can, a small can of kidney beans. And I'm looking at these kidney beans, and I'm like, all right, brother, what do you want me to do with these? You want me to make a salad? You want me to cook it for you? What do you want me to do? He says, no, I'm giving you my kidney. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I see that. I see that. And then a second later, it caught on to me. You're giving me his kidney. And I'm like, you could have heard a pin drop in the room full of our family. You could have heard a pin drop. Everything just came to silent. And his wife, who was a nurse, I didn't know. I mean, to tell my brothers and sisters, I told them to not, I didn't want anybody tested because I don't want them to go through any surgical, medical, things like that. I didn't want anybody to go through that. But when we had a drive here in San Diego for me to find a donor, over 200 people tested, not one person matched, not one. So they decided to go behind my back and get tested. And
Wow.
my brother who was a match, they decided that to give me a kidney. So again, that's like my second birthday, and I'm so grateful for that. So grateful. So I had the kidney transplant. That was a success. After the transplant, I'm thinking, okay, heart, kidney, lungs, liver, spleen. What is next? I have a flare again. Gallbladder gets removed because they see that as being a problem. And then I had a stroke with my heart, thinking, okay, how's my heart? But after the stroke, they said my heart is still doing fine. And then I'm thinking, okay, that's it. Everything, what else? Now the final episode was my brain. So lupus had affected my brain to where there is no diagnosis for it. They call it encephalopathy of the brain, which means a wide range of a brain disease that they don't know. To this day, Felicia, these are the debilitating migraines that I'm having to this day. And some people know what I'm going through on a daily because a lot of people I talk to on a daily, some people only see what I'm doing on social media, but behind every person, there is a story, guys. You guys see me advocating. You see Felicia doing her shows. You see my brothers in the Lupus Dream Team doing their things. We all have a story and are going through things. So what we do, though, is we put it out that we are winning no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
When they found the patterns in my brain that they couldn't describe, I'm thinking, okay, but because of the medications that they're giving me, I had to take off of work now. I'm thinking I'm going back to work, but I could not maintain my career. I was a service manager at an auto dealership and a trucking dealership. So I had a big position, a lot of responsibilities. But when you got migraines and you had to turn yourself off to the world, you can't do that in a high-paced job. I had to take off of work, and I did. Since then, I've been on disability, which is permanent now, but I decided I needed to do something else with my life because my passion, like I mentioned earlier, was working and providing. I can't work no more. Lupus took that away from me. What can I do now for lupus? What can I do? That's when I picked up a pen and paper and said, I'm going to start an organization and help people through some of the stuff that I didn't have help from me. There wasn't a guys group in the 90s and the early 2000s that I can join and hear other men talk about what we go through. There wasn't other men with lupus that I found that I can say, hey, bro, how did you go about doing this? How did you go about doing that? It wasn't anything. A lot of the stuff that I did, I kept to myself, dealt with it to myself, but at the same time, I gained a lot. So, Felicia, what I decided to do was start an organization where I can be that resource for the guy that picks up the phone, social media today. How can I get a help as a male with lupus? How can I get a help with lupus, period, man or woman? And I decided to call it Male Lupus Warriors. Male Lupus Warriors. Why? Think about it. The word male tells you that this is a guy that's speaking from his own experience, not from a textbook, not from what I read on Google, not for any of that, but a guy who put his story out there that didn't know I had a story till I told it. Didn't know. Now that I told my story and now that people know it, here come the questions. Here comes how did you? Why did you? Here comes everything. And I'm such an open book to where I want to share it and help everybody out. Male Lupus Warriors started as an LLC because I became a fan of selling my own product and shirts. And people caught on to that. Emmitt, I want a shirt. I want talk about lupus. I want to spread lupus. So that was going crazy. To this day, guys, I had to slow it down because so much more work has came in and I'm only a single person doing this by myself. So the shirt part had to slow down, but could resume later. And when I say put in so much work, after a year of Male Lupus Warriors as an LLC, with all of the connections that I made, all of the support that I was given, I decided to go nonprofit. And why go nonprofit? And any of y'all can tell why nonprofit is because I can reach out and help way more people beyond Emmitt Henderson.
Yeah.
Emmitt can do so much, but as a nonprofit, I can do so much more. I've helped people out of my own pocket in the past. I've helped people by picking up the phone and saying, I'm here for you if you need to talk. I've helped people in a lot of different ways as a nonprofit for Male Lupus Warriors. And this is where I'm going to need all your guys' support to where the bigger that I become as a nonprofit, as Male Lupus Warrior, the more the autoimmune lupus community is going to win, the more. We are all doing this together, all the other nonprofits that are out there. You guys all inspire me. I'm hoping I can give inspiration out there to be the same. And when I do, I will be able to pick up that call and not only give them words of advice, but maybe give them something that I can help them with that we can go somewhere and build. I am looking for volunteers in all the states that wants to help spread Male Lupus Warriors around. I want to help students. I want to help elderlies. I want to help anybody that I can that I could reach out to that I can have help from over here in the West Coast to the East. Now, one big important aspect of what I'm doing here is to bring my brothers in from the Lupus Dream Team. If you guys are following me, you need to follow the Lupus Dream Team as well. And my boy Dion Langley and also Jonathan Braxton is all part of my team. We decided to come together as an organization to be louder than what we already are.
Dion is actually going to be on our show next week, guys, sharing his story.
Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. When Dion come on, his passion and everything is the same. You know, this game about we're all in this together, we are. However, I've come across some people, some organizations that maybe see me as a threat to them, which, guys, I'm not. I'd rather work with you instead of against you. I would never work against you, and I would rather work with you than not work with you at all. But when I connected with Dion, it was like two brothers with the same passion, two brothers with lupus, two brothers that want to spread the word. And I got my own organization. He has his. We didn't cancel our organizations. No, we just came together to create a third organization to try to amplify our voices even more and even louder. Me and D, we talk all the time. We go through everything that we talk about. We have plans. Y'all ain't seeing, this is just the beginning of what Male Lupus Warriors, hashtag Beat Lupus, Lupus Dream Team is doing around. This is just the beginning. 2022, just watch us and just keep us on your radar because we're going to be out there. We're going to be out there.
It is very inspiring to see all the work that you've put in our community. You and Dion both, you're doing so much work with the males. And I'm still to this day seeing men that will just kind of newly discover one of the lupus groups. And a lot of times with the males, I feel like they might just put one little tiptoe in one group. And I think that it's up to us as a community to lead them back your way. Because as you saw, I mentioned you in a comment on Facebook the other day. Someone was like, are there any men on here? And it's we have a resource and we can all be pointing them in the direction of the Lupus Dream Team, Male Lupus Warriors, and Beat Lupus, because they do have that support system.
They do. They do. You're absolutely right. But let me tell you something about that for as men, because again, it took me all these years for me to come out and talk about it, but I didn't even know it existed. I did post and talk about lupus here and there, but nobody really reached out to me. Some of my posts were about encouraging and inspiring even with lupus before I even became Male Lupus Warriors, but there was not much a response to it because either people didn't understand or I wasn't connected like that to a lot of people. Now it's totally the opposite and the difference. But when it comes to men speaking up and getting up on these public platforms, they sometimes just want to listen and hear what other guys have to say. Me and Dion have these Zoom meetings once a month males with lupus Zoom meeting once a month. We had guys coming on we never heard before, but now they see an outlet. We are that outlet to encourage guys. You don't have to come out and speak publicly, talk publicly, be out there like that. No, but if what we say can bring you some type of inspiration to where, you know what, you still strong, brother. You still the man of the house. If we can feed that into your brain and make you feel inspired and stronger than how you were, and knowing that there's other guys that's doing it too, man,
Yeah.
to me, that's my passion. That's my dream right there. I'm not a Felicia, you all people know I'm not selfish at all.
Yeah.
I will share everything I can, open up to people and let people know. Me and Dion has created these things to where it's okay for guys to know, let's talk about it. Again, you don't have to be vocal about it. We've had guys come on our talks and our meetings just to listen. No cameras, no voices, just to listen. I'm cool with that. So cool with that.
Yeah, and I think that it's nice for them to just be able to, as they're starting out to connect, to just put one little foot in the door and just kind of listen for the first few times, you know?
Right, right.
And you get a safe space for men to do that now that they never had before.
Definitely, definitely a safe space. I am seeing a lot more in the whole year and a half I've been doing this. I've been seeing a lot more men stepping up.
Yeah.
I'm also part of an organization with David Ross and Michael Mitterman, where this organization I'm with is called Rare Men's Disease Mental Health. This platform is from countries all over the world. It's such a beautiful thing to see and hear from other guys from we got Saudi Arabia, we have Europe, a lot of them in Europe and the UK. We have Uganda, a guy in Africa just joined, from Canada, from the States. We have guys from all over that jump on, and it's such a vocal group that it gives us an example of what's going on in the cultures in their countries, the differences between health disparities, health equalities of what's going on. It's like that's important for us to know as men too. So to where when I do become this organization that is worldwide, when I get there, I will be able to, how do I reach out to them? How do I reach out to the small villages in Africa that don't have good medical care? How can I help them guys get medications? I was on a Zoom in Uganda, or from, excuse me, the organization is from here, no, from Uganda, from Africa, and it had men with lupus from Africa and men that were supporters, caregivers for their wives with lupus. The stories that I heard is so heartbreaking, to where we take so much stuff for granted over here that we need to put ourselves in less positions to where however we can help somebody, we need to. So one of my passions and goals is to make that trip, see what we can do to help somehow put the word out there to where this is what's going to happen. And again, I can't and not able to do it at my status now. As a nonprofit that I just started and became a nonprofit, as time goes on and grows, I will need that. I
Yeah.
will do that. So trust me, I got so much going on to where I'm busy, but never busy enough to help. So y'all remember that. Don't feel like you can't contact me because you think Emmitt's too busy. I'm
He
busy, but never
answers,
busy
he
enough to help.
does. He definitely answers. I think it's amazing that you're able to provide resources to so many different men. I know that you're just starting your nonprofit and the sky is the limit for you, but just the fact that you're able to meet people across the continents that maybe didn't have anyone to talk to and just start providing resources. I've noticed a lot that they don't have a lot of resources in New Zealand and in the Philippines, and having this social media platform and being involved in these lupus groups is a way to bring resources to people. And I'm happy to be on this journey with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am part of an organization in the Philippines as well
Wow.
because I am mixed with Filipino. And for me to have to hear what's going on over there as well, again, another world that I didn't know existed. And even with what I'm doing now, a lot of new things are still coming my way. I try to find ways to be involved and get involved. And being that my mom, we have so much family over there in the Philippines, I like to do and establish something there as well. So I'm making connections, and things will start to unfold to where, as a nonprofit status, I'm going to be able to do something. And again, I'm saying something because it's before it was a little something, and as I grow, as we grow as the dream team, hashtag be lupus, male lupus warriors, we are going to have more to spread out. And don't get it twisted. This is not about us. It's not about what me, Dion, and Jay can do. It's not. It's about what we can produce for the community and the people. Because at the end of the day, we want to know that somehow, some way, this organization, this community, they were all helped because yes, we put in the work. Not that we want the fame and the glory. No, we put in the work, and the results is our gratitude. The results that this place had been helped, this place had got what they wanted, the smile on their face, the accomplishment. That's where we take in the gratitude and is like, thank you, God, for helping us do for them. And if y'all, know me, talk to me more on a personal level, you guys know that's my whole goal. I talk about it all the time.
So is there anything, Emmett, that you wish you had known going into lupus or that anyone had told you?
Probably what I wish I would have known is that there is resources out there. When I got turned down or turned myself down from that support group, I shut down. I shut down. If I would have known, hey, Emmitt, there's a whole new lupus community on social media. Hey, Emmitt, there is this group, that group, this group. They talk about lupus. There's webinars. There's education on it. Remember in 95, when I got diagnosed, I didn't have Google. So I couldn't pick up the computer and just start Googling lupus. I couldn't do that. I didn't know about it itself. If I would have known there are resources, I would have reached out a lot sooner. There's a lot of things today that lupus patients, autoimmune patients, and warriors, they hold into themselves because they don't think people will understand.
Yeah.
If you don't open up and ask, you won't get the answers that you need. I can't help somebody if they don't pick up the phone and say, hey, Emmitt, this is what's going on. If I
And
can't help you in your capacity, I will help you in some way.
one of the things that I love about Emmitt, you guys, is that he is very accessible. And especially in this platform that's hitting across the continents and countries and states, you always answer your messages. You always connect with people and you're always here for the community. So don't be afraid to reach out to Emmitt or recommend males in your life that are going through lupus to his group. He's a really safe spot to fall.
Absolutely. And I thank you very much. And for everybody that has been following me, I couldn't be where I'm at without you. I couldn't do what I'm doing without you. You guys give me the fuel to do and be bigger every single day. And then my posts on my personal page and in my dream team with me and Dion, that's all we post is the positive stuff on how to be better than we were yesterday, because being better today is going to gear us to be better again tomorrow. And
Absolutely.
that's what we need. That's what we need.
Just improving your steps day by day with little things that make your heart smile. And leading back to self-care and lupus glitter, one of the big things that we focus on. What is your favorite self-care ritual? What's your favorite
Wow.
self-care?
So with that, and I'm not just saying this, it's like with that, my favorite self-care is when Emmitt gets to sit back from everything he's doing and attend to myself. You know how many people that call me is like, Emmitt, you need to do this, you need to do that. Slow down, slow down, slow down. And I'm gonna tell you right now, for all of y'all that told me that, you're 100% right. And I'm doing it. My self-care is to step back. Let me just let things go because I got the backup I need to keep things going. My family with the dream team, these guys support me all the way to where I can back up. I will leave San Diego. I will go to Las Vegas just to get away.
Do
And when
it.
yeah, I would
I
go
love
to Las Vegas where it's like my second home, and I got a lot of special people there to where I will get away from San Diego, get away from things, and just do Emmitt. I will do that. Physically, I try to work out and keep myself going. That takes my mind off of things, and I love to walk. I love to walk. So if y'all in San Diego, you want to walk in, buddy, hey, hit me up. Let's walk.
Aw, that's awesome. I know I saw you recently took a trip to the Bahamas. What prompted you to do that? That's pretty
When
adventurous.
when you get a call from your family, it says, hey, Em, I got an open spot. Let's go to the Bahamas and let's do it. And I'm thinking, you know what? I got a couple events I got to do, but you know what? I can do it still. So I went to the Bahamas. I still did some events. I spoke at a San Diego hip hop 5K run that was here in San Diego. I was able to do a speaking on that and just able to enjoy myself because all work and no play, is bad. And I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. So now I'm trying to balance that and keep my play in there, but make sure my work is done at the same time. So it's mentally good for us, physically good for us, because the last thing I need is for my lupus to wake up and decide to stop me from what I'm doing. And if I don't do the self-care, doing things like that, impromptu trips, vacations, doing something out the box, you guys, we all need to do that. All of us need to do something like that. If you look at your everyday routine, and if you can honestly say, working home, working home, working home, it's going to just drive you crazy and drive you into the ground. Go out, live life, have some fun. Go sit at a park with a drink. Go sit at a park with lunch and then just enjoy what God's given us around us. Enjoy the fact. Clear your mind, clear your head.
You
Take the
do take
sickness
a lot of
off.
pictures in nature. Does nature really ground you and kind of refresh your spirit?
Oh,
Me too.
absolutely. Absolutely. Just the other day, I was over there at a luncheon with the Lupus Foundation of America that I'm a board member of here in Southern Cal. And we had lunch right off the San Diego Bay and water. And if you guys seen my story,
I
it's one of
love.
those things, again, it grounds me. It makes me appreciate life, makes me appreciate that I am still here to do what I'm doing. And the fact that I can look at this beautiful scene, it's priceless, Felicia. It's priceless.
And one of the things that me and Emmett love to do when he comes into town is we're big foodies. So we like to try like different international foods and sometimes watch some local music here in Las Vegas. We have a lot of funny entertainment, if you will. So
It
I
is.
wanted to encourage you guys to comment below what you do for self-care. And Emmett, one more question for you.
Absolutely.
What would you tell fellow warriors go on a tough day, going through a hard week, a hard day, a hard month? What would you like them to know during these moments from you?
For me, something I had to again learn that there is another day. If today you're not feeling it, if today got you down, if today beat you up, you know what? A new day is when you reset. A new day is when you reset. You look at that day, you lay down in bed, and first of all, thank God you got through it.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to do tomorrow to make it a better day? I always tell this to people to where what is going to bring you happiness? What is going to put a smile on your face? Implement that somehow, some way. Even that could be as simple as opening the door for somebody behind you. Even if that's as simple as just nodding your head, passing somebody and saying, "Hey, good morning," and they say good morning back.
Yeah.
Even for something as simple as calling up a loved one and just saying, "Hey, I just want to say what's up, checking on you, how you doing." If you guys get a text from me that says checking on you, how you're doing, that's because I needed to reach out, and that's because I'm thinking of you. And just because I don't mean I'm not to any of you guys, but that's what I would do. And so that's what I would recommend, guys. There is another day from the day that did not give you the best day. Look at that new day and focus. Because we can't go backwards, we can only go forwards. I always said you can never go back down, but you can always go up. But it's up to you to do that. It's up to you.
Yeah, and I think a big portion of having inner peace and self-care is just finding out what does make your heart smile and trying to do those little things to make yourself happy every day.
Absolutely, Felicia. Absolutely. It's what makes me smile is waking up and the messages that I get from people
Yeah.
just to say something nice. I'm on the West Coast, so the East Coast, where a lot of my friends are, they think that I'm still asleep, or they think that I'm up, should I say, and they're texting me and everything. I love it. I mean, but if I don't answer you guys right away, that's why. But again, just the simple gestures of that. Good morning, good day, good night. Simple gestures, just like that.
Yeah. For more tips and more male lupus warriors, don't forget to follow Emmitt on Instagram and Facebook, and also to follow the Lupus Dream Team. Thank you
Boom.
so much for coming for Butterfly Tea Time and sharing your story with us. I see nothing but amazing things for your nonprofit.
Thank you, Felicia. I appreciate you and everything you're doing. That's right. And I want to thank everybody for being on here. Yeah, I seen some of the comments. I couldn't answer or see them all, but you guys can reach out to me on
You
my,
have a lot of support with what you're doing.
and I support y'all back. I support you guys back. So thank you so much. With myself, on behalf of the Lupus Dream Team and everything I'm doing, 2022 is going to be big.
Yeah.
Watch us, follow us, and be part of the blessings. And thank you guys all very much.
Thank you guys for joining us in Lupus Glitter. And until next time, fly
Peace.
free. Bye, Emmitt.
Bye. Thank you.